Boxing fans are in shock. Terence Crawford just questioned Errol Spence Jr.'s Hall of Fame status, and the boxing community is going wild. Is Spence really unworthy of the Hall of Fame, or is Crawford just stirring up controversy? Let's find out.
How many more fights would you say? I know you said maybe one, but come on.
I don't know, 1, 2.
Oh.
I'm not one of those guys. I told you I'm not one of those guys that's going to be fighting until I'm 45 and I'm punchy.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how? He fought in one division. He had a WBC,
WBA,
IBF. No, he wasn't. No, what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But like, once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to
Terence Crawford has sent Errol Spence Jr. a taunting response after Errol Spence unexpectedly called him out for a rematch. Crawford feels Errol Spence is a quick money scheme for him, as the result wouldn't be any different from how the first fight went. If at all, it would even be worse. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. have sparked up a rivalry many thought was dead after Spence was knocked out cold 2 years ago.
Accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got right.
However, Spence is set to make his return to the ring soon, and among the many options he has on his table, he's chosen to get into the ring against Crawford again. Well, he didn't plan all of this by himself. Errol Spence was forced to do this when he came across Crawford's comment on a podcast, claiming he wasn't fit or qualified to be in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Spence and several other boxing professionals found Crawford's statement to be insulting and demanding for a fighter of Errol Spence's caliber, who came out of a devastating car crash to defeat top-tier opponents, and who unseated reigning welterweight champions to unify 3 belts in the division.
Is there ever a possibility where you would rematch Errol Spence? Or is he in a position where he needs to win again before that makes sense for you?
The possibility is there.
I'm walking over my feet. I want to get out the game. I got kids, got a mom and dad, and they want to enjoy me. So.
To Spence, the single loss in his boxing resume shouldn't hinder him from Hall of Fame glory, nor should a defeat against Crawford overshadow his 28 victories and 22 knockouts. But Spence isn't even ready for arguments. He's set to take the law into his own hands and try his best to defeat the first boxer to be undisputed in 2 weight divisions in the 4-belt era. Errol Spence is of the opinion that once he can defeat Crawford, there will be no arguments regarding his Hall of Fame status. In response to Crawford's claims, he called him out for a rematch, and now Crawford has responded with the most savage response, claiming any fight with Errol Spence is easy money.
Everything got to come to the end, and, sadly, this definitely got to come to the end. So I'm definitely going to get out while I still can and not either be forced out or I have to keep fighting because I need money.
Add one more belt, though.
There's an ongoing debate in the boxing community about whether Errol Spence Jr. deserves a spot in the Boxing Hall of Fame. This discussion started picking up steam after the 2-weight undisputed champion and Spence's former rival, Terence Crawford, addressed the topic on the Pound for Pound podcast with Cameron Usman and Henry Cejudo. Crawford highlighted that he could retire today, and his accomplishments in the sport would ensure he gets into the Boxing Hall of Fame. However, he wasn't so sure about his former rival receiving the same treatment, noting he couldn't like everything that I've accomplished. He's still trying to accomplish. When pressed further, Crawford started listing Spence's work, but the thought far.
A lot of poise, broke him down and was able to stop him at the end.
Everybody's wondering what's going on with you and Terence Crawford. This fight gonna happen?
I think it's gonna happen. We both want to fight. I want to fight. He wants to fight, and it's going down to negotiations. So I think I definitely gonna get the fight this year, and we're gonna score out this year with the biggest fight in boxing.
It is the biggest fight in boxing. Where and when, if you were guessing?
I don't know where. I don't know when, but it's definitely gonna be this year.
All right.
He fought in just one division and never unified the belts, and he wasn't undisputed. Huh? He wasn't. But what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully, right? He beat Kell Brook coming off a loss and an eye injury. Crawford said, trying to justify his statements. Since the podcast aired, there's been a huge backlash from fans and experts alike. Now, former World Boxing Organization super featherweight champion Jamel Herring has joined the conversation, sharing his perspective on the matter. Herring suggested that he loves Crawford but disagrees with his take. Errol Spence Jr. was a unified champion in one of boxing's most storied divisions. He began his long expose.
For his title, I'm fighting for a title, and there's a possibility. He win this fight, God willing. I win my fight, God willing. And there's a possibility right there.
Herring highlighted that Spence defeated every world champion in the division to unify all the belts, noting that none of the belts were vacant, contradicting Crawford's statement. Herring added that Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Eudenis Ugas were all reigning title holders when Spence beat them. The 39-year-old also highlighted Spence's victories over Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia, with the latter being particularly impressive as it came after Spence's life-threatening car crash. He packed arenas, sold pay-per-views, and helped carry the welterweight division during his run. His impact and accomplishments stack up with many already in the Hall of Fame, Herring noted. To conclude, the former world champion claimed that losing one fight to one of the best in the sport doesn't erase Spence's accomplishments. Errol Spence Jr. is absolutely Hall of Fame worthy. In the meantime, one of Spence Jr.'s former opponents has also commented on the matter. Eudenis Ugas and Errol Spence Jr. fought back in April 2024. Before Crawford put an end to Spence's undefeated run, Spence had secured a 10th-round technical knockout when over Ugas, which left the Cuban fighter with an injured eye. Despite the loss, it appears Ugas doesn't hold any ill will against the truth, as he shared his perspective on Crawford's claims. I even think if Errol Spence Jr. were retired today, I think he'd be a Hall of Famer, Ugas wrote in a tweet. Much like Herring, the Cuban highlighted that Spence came back from his car crash and eye surgery to win titles. He noted, he has an incredible story of overcoming it. He badly injured my eye, but that's boxing. Ugas expressed his honor to have fought Spence Jr., but claimed he still hopes to see Spence come back. Fighters are opponents, not enemies, he concluded. Since Crawford captured the WBO welterweight title in his first fight at 147 pounds in June 2018, a TKO victory over Jeff Horn, there have been calls for a summit meeting against Spence for years. One impediment loomed large: rival promoters. Crawford was promoted by Top Rank for years, whereas Spence is aligned with PBC. The companies rarely conduct business with each other, and it was a major stumbling block to the highly anticipated fight. Crawford became a promotional free agent following a 10th-round TKO victory over Sean Porter in November 2021, paving the way for a potential bout with Spence. The sides engaged in talks for much of the year and were on the verge of completing a deal in September, but talks collapsed at the 11th hour. As the debate rages on, one thing is certain: both Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. have cemented their legacies in the world of boxing. Whether or not Spence makes it to Hall of Fame, his story of resilience and triumph remains unforgettable. Let us know in the comments. Do you think Errol Spence Jr. truly deserves a Hall of Fame spot, or is Crawford right to question his legacy? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more boxing insights and updates.